Well, here we go. I'm changing my alternator on my 2004 Dodge Ram 3/4 ton. I thought that that might help somebody. I had looked at the service manual, but apparently there's a lot of things that don't quite match on how to do it. I'll show you at the end how to put the belt back together. I've already taken care of it, as you can tell. The one thing that was different in the manual is that on the tensioner, they tell you to turn that bolt over here, and it's supposed to be clockwise, and supposed to move the belt tensioner up so you can take the belt off. But that actually didn't do anything for me. Either it was tensioning the bolt or unscrewing it. So what I ended up using was this little tool over here. It has a 3/8 drive, and there is a perfect spot over here. It's on the side. I don't know. Let me see if I can get closer. On the side of the tensioner. Basically, the tool is not very good. The tool fits perfectly in, and I'll show you how it is installed. I guess later on when I put the belt back on, it doesn't want to cooperate. But anyway, my alternator was making a little whine. You might be able to hear it when I turn the pulley. I see a little rubbing noise, and I could hear that little whine at all RPMs on the engine. And when I removed the belt, by turning all the little pulleys, this one was the one making noise, so I decided to change it. By comparison, here's a new alternator. I decided to replace it by the same OEM Bosch. It's written on the back here, so it's kind of hard to tell when it's on the engine. You have to put a little mirror in the back, and it basically tells you. But in comparison, the pulley on this new alternator, can't hear anything. So my guess is I was right. The bearings are getting bad on the other one. Otherwise, it was just working fine. But alright, so one thing to be careful with is just the routing of the belt around the different pulleys. That's another thing the service manual was wrong about on that particular engine. It didn't match. It had the alternator mounted on the right, and that's not the case, evidently. I actually double checked with the sticker over here for my 5.7 liter, and it matched, so I knew that was a good reference later on. So the first thing to do, especially when you're going to replace the alternator, is to remove the negative battery and the positive of the cable, just so that nothing happens. After that, basically have to remove the belt, and basically by moving the tensioner, and move the tensioner enough so I could slide the belt off of that pulley, because it doesn't have any edge, so made it easy enough. You don't want to do that off of the other pulleys with a groove, because you might damage the belt. You just want to slide it off a smooth pulley. Second part of it is just removing the two, the terminal over here, the connection. It just unbolts. It's usually on it like this. You just remove the nut, take it off, and then remove the connector over here. You just basically have to press on the little tab over here, and it comes. Alright, after you've taken care of the two electrical connections on the top there, you've got to come and remove that bracket over here. The manual again tells you there's only 3 nuts to remove. Well, that's not true. There's another little bolt over there that you need to remove. No big deal, but another. Okay, this is what it looks with the 3 nuts off, and the other one actually didn't have to take it off all the way. So the bracket is just over here, and then we just have to remove this bolt that actually pulls through. It looks like it's just a nut, but it's actually a bolt. It pulls right out. Otherwise, it'd be very difficult to remove from the back. And then there is another mounting bolt on the side here that I need to remove. Alright, this is what it looks like. As you can see, it is actually a bolt that is tapped, threaded on the other side, and the part of the alternator support is threaded, so there's no nut on the back. But you just have to unscrew this. I'll keep on going. And here's the one on the other side that's already have out. So we do is. Alright, let me remove that, and I'll get the video. Alright, so once the bolts are removed, Take a little bit of convincing to remove the alternator. You can see the little raised face over here. That's basically make it want to stay where it is on the support. So I basically had to use a pry bar to move it back and forth over here and over here on the side of the alternator and move it. And this side finally came out. Took a minute or so, and now I'm gonna work on the other side. Well, it took a little bit of working with it to get it out. You can see those little wrist bars here are pretty tight on the supports, but using a bit of pry bar on either side of it, you can see can't hurt anything under it. It's just a support, so basically sliding the pry bar under it and working it out either side just got it off. And just have to be careful with the electrical connection around and the AC line over here. You don't get anything damaged, or just the pulley over here for the compressor on the AC. You can get easy damage if you put your pry bar on it. And don't use the thread either, otherwise there'll be a problem if you're leaning on the thread to pry it out. Okay, well, let's put the new one in. Here's a new alternator in with the bolts on, and as you can tell, it is loose, which worried me a little bit. I thought there was something wrong with it, but then I realized that those little bushings in the back here, where the bolt comes in, actually slide. And that's what made it hard to remove, because as you tighten the bolt, it just brings those bushing out and clamps them on the support here. And that's what you can see over here. When you install it new, those bushings are flush with the support, and then as you tighten the bolt, it basically pulls them in and clamps it on. So that's what I'm going to do next. So here's the alternator with a couple turn of the wrench. You can see it now. Well, you can't really see, but you don't hear it moving anymore. It basically tightened those bushings. So I'm going to tighten it some more. Reinstall my 3 nuts over here on the bracket. Put the belt on. I'll show you that. You see that part with the belt tensioner and how I turned it, and that will be ready with the 2 connections over here. Alright, I tightened my bolts, and I'm putting my 2 electrical connections back on. This one here, one nut, and I'll finish tightening, and then a connection I had put here in between so it wouldn't get damaged. It just goes back here. Like a little connector. Comes here and basically just clips right back in. And once you have this tightened over here, a little cache that goes on top of it. And okay, so once you've put the bolts back in, the 2 electrical connections, and then the cover back on with the 4 nuts, the 3 bolts and 1 nut. I would strongly recommend cleaning your pulleys, making sure nothing fell on it, like little metal shavings or anything that could get caught in the belt and get it damaged. So I'm just going to use compressed air and blow on all the pulleys from top to bottom, and before I reinstall the belt. So as you can see on the belt tensioner, 3 holes, some smaller than the other ones, but this particular one, the last one over here, fits perfectly in with the 3/8 drive, and that's what I'm using to untighten the tensioner so I can put the belt back on. So as you can tell, with this is the tensioner just in a resting position, and by pulling clockwise with that little ratchet, I'm able to make it move up and down, and basically have to bring it up to a very high position before I can start slipping my belt on. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the belt around all the pulleys with the grooves, make sure that it fits right in the grooves, and I'll leave it loose for that smooth idler over here, and this way I can just slide it in. It takes 2 hands, so I won't be able to film it, but I'll show you after again. You can just basically push it on, and this way you don't damage the belt with the edge of the pulley or any of the grooves. Okay, so I cleaned all the pulleys, make sure there was nothing wrong with it, routed the belt everywhere around, and just the last part I have to do is wrap that belt around that idler over there. And currently the way it is, it's a little too tight, but once I pull the tensioner, then it'll be easier and I'll be able to just slide it on, and then I'll be done with it. As you're putting your belt back on, just make sure it's on all the groove. As I said, it's worth getting under the truck and checking it from the bottom. You can see much better what's happening on the bottom pulleys, and make sure the belt is on and not going on the side and all, so you don't damage it. And once you've checked it all and connected everything back up, then you're ready to fire it up. Okay, well, the belt went back on alright, just around the idler, as I said, and you have to be careful when you work with the tensioner not to let it snap back, otherwise you might break it or damage it. But here it is, my belt is fully installed. Everything is connected on the electrical connections, all the bolts back. I connected the plus and minus back. Technically you don't really have to take the positive off, but I always like to do it just in case my negative cable snaps back to the battery and touches the negative terminal. But so all back, and I tested the battery. It was 12.5 volts before I reconnected it, and I started back up, started fine, and I was able to read about 14.5 volts across the terminal, so the charger is definitely working, alternator is working, and that's about it. So good luck with your project, and be careful.